Level 1, the hidden battle. Not everyone with low self-esteem looks insecure. Some look confident, some are loud, some are successful, some never stop smiling. But inside, a different story is unfolding. Every compliment gets questioned. Every mistake feels permanent. Every rejection, it feels like proof that they were never enough. Low self-esteem isn't just thinking badly about yourself. It's seeing the world through a distorted mirror, one that shrinks your strength and magnifies every flaw. You don't just notice criticism, you hunt for it, you expect it, eventually, you create it. The most painful part? Most people don't even realize they're doing it. Their thoughts become facts, their fears become reality, their inner voice becomes their identity. And that changes everything, not just how they see themselves, but how they love, how they work, how they dream, how they survive. To understand someone with low self esteem, you first have to understand one uncomfortable truth. The loudest voice in their life is usually their own, and it's rarely kind. Level 2, look where it begins. Nobody is born believing they're worthless. That belief has to be learned. Sometimes it begins in childhood. A parent who only noticed mistakes, a teacher who compared them to everyone else, a bully who repeated the same insult until it became an identity. Other times, it starts later, a toxic relationship, repeated failures, constant rejection, years of impossible expectations. The brain keeps records. Every painful experience leaves another mark. Eventually, those moments connect. They form a belief. I'm not good enough. And once that belief exists, the mind begins searching for evidence. Every success, luck, every failure, proof. This is called confirmation bias. The brain protects its beliefs, even when they're wrong, especially when they're wrong, because changing a belief requires admitting it wasn't true. And that's terrifying. Over time, the person stops asking you, what happened to me? They start asking, what's wrong with me? That single question changes the rest of their life. Level 3, the inner critic. Everyone has an inner voice, but not everyone's inner voice is an enemy. For people with low self-esteem, it becomes a relentless judge. You embarrassed yourself. They're laughing at you. You'll fail again. You don't deserve this. Imagine hearing those words every single day. Eventually, as you stop arguing, you agree. That's the dangerous part, because repeated thoughts become automatic. Automatic thoughts become habits. Habits become identity. The inner critic rarely screams. It whispers, quietly, constantly, until it sounds like common sense. Even compliments become suspicious. They're just being nice. They don't really mean it. They'll change their mind. Nothing feels safe. Nothing feels certain. Not because reality is cruel, but because perception has changed. The prison exists inside the mind. And unlike physical walls, no one else can see it. Level 4 and why they push people away. The greatest irony, many people with low self-esteem crave love, but struggle to accept it. Someone says, I care about you. Their first thought isn't gratitude, it's suspicion. Why? What do they want? When will they leave? Because if you secretly believe you're unworthy, love feels temporary. Compliments feel accidental. Kindness feels dangerous. So they test people, push them away, overthink every message, apologize for existing, or become emotionally distant. Not because they don't care, because they care too much. Rejection hurts less. If they reject themselves first, it feels safer, lonelier, but safer. Till one day, the loneliness becomes another piece of evidence. See? Nobody stays. Level 5, the fear of failure. Failure hurts everyone, but for someone with low self-esteem, failure isn't an event, it's an identity. I failed becomes I am a failure. That's why many never start. They overthink, over-prepare, wait for perfect timing. Perfection becomes protection. If nothing is ever finished, nothing can be judged. Dreams stay hidden. Ideas stay unwritten. Opportunities pass quietly. Not because they lacked talent, because fear was louder. Ironically, avoiding failure creates more failure. The very thing they fear becomes the thing they experience. Not through incompetence, through avoidance. The mind convinced them it was keeping them safe, when it was actually keeping them small. Level 6, the need for validation. People with healthy self-esteem enjoy praise. People with low self-esteem depend on it, likes, messages, approval, recognition. Without it, their confidence disappears for a moment. Validation feels amazing. Then it fades. They need another compliment, another achievement, another sign they're enough. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No amount is ever enough because the problem isn't outside, it's inside. External approval can decorate insecurity, but it can't replace self-worth. The search never ends until the source changes. Level 7. The masks they wear. Low self-esteem rarely looks the same. Some become perfectionists, some become people pleasers, some become workaholics, some become comedians, some become silent observers. Different masks, same fear. If people see the real me, they won't stay. So they perform, smile, agree, achieve, entertain, hide. Each mask earns acceptance, but costs authenticity. Eventually, they forget who they really are because they've spent years becoming whoever everyone else wanted. The applause grows louder. The emptiness grows deeper. Level 8. The invisible comparisons. Comparison happens automatically, but low self-esteem turns it into torture. Someone buys a house. They feel behind. Someone gets promoted. They feel worthless. Someone looks happier. They feel broken. Social media makes it worse. Highlights become reality. Filters become expectations. Everyone else's success feels like personal failure, but comparison ignores context. It compares your behind the scenes to someone else's best moments. The result? Constant dissatisfaction. No finish line, no peace, only another person to measure yourself against. Level 9. The cycle that keeps them stuck. The cycle is surprisingly simple. Negative belief, negative thought, negative emotion, negative behavior, negative result. Then, the brain says, I knew it. The cycle repeats, again and again, until years disappear. Nothing changes, because every step reinforces the next. Breaking the cycle doesn't begin with confidence, it begins with awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. The first victory, Taoichuotser, is noticing the pattern. The second is refusing to obey it. Level 10, rebuilding self-worth. Healing isn't becoming perfect, it's becoming honest. Honest about your strengths, honest about your flaws, without turning either into your identity. Self-esteem grows differently than most people expect. Not through empty affirmations, through repeated evidence. Keeping promises to yourself. Trying again after failure, accepting compliments, setting boundaries. Speaking kindly to yourself. One decision at a time, one habit at a time, one belief at a time. The voice inside your head can change. The story you've repeated for years can be rewritten. Your past may explain your self-esteem, but it doesn't have to define it. The strongest people aren't those who never doubted themselves. They're the ones who stopped believing every doubt. Because your worth was never determined by your worst day, your biggest mistake, or someone else's opinion. It was always there, waiting for you to finally believe it. And perhaps that's the greatest psychological transformation of all. The moment you stop asking, am I enough? And finally realize you always were.